Hello beauties, welcome back to my channel. It's CC Clarke here, and if you haven't already, please do subscribe, join the family. But today I am bringing a little makeup tutorial to my channel, and it's been a minute, so I do apologise. Of course, you guys know, or if you don't, I'm 8.5 months pregnant right now, and I've been documenting weekly vlogs, my pregnancy journey, and today would usually be another episode of that journey, but it's been a quiet week, so I'm replacing it with something I've seen going around that I've been desperate to film for a while, which is my makeup then versus now. So I'm going to be throwing it back all the way to 2014, 6 years ago. So my makeup wasn't terrible. Of course, I've always experimented with makeup, and I don't want this to be a shaming old CC video, even though my techniques were questionable. Of course, I mean, I hope I've improved since, and hopefully there'll be some useful tips that can help you as well to improve your makeup routine or to give you a little bit of inspiration. So 2014 was actually the year that I created my beauty Instagram, and although I did experiment with certain looks, there's always like the go-to look that you wear for every single like event and just your everyday glam. And I'm gonna put some pictures up now of what that looked like. And yes, I know I look different. I mean, it's 6 years ago. I'm also pregnant now, so my face has like changed shape completely. Along with the fact that I have had lip fillers, although they have dissolved now, because the last time I had them done was like 2 years ago, and I had like 0.2 mils. It's not really for me anymore, but I do have to say my lips have stayed more plump. I mean, my whole face is a little bit more plump. I mean, regardless of any treatments, our faces change, we mature. I've become a woman. I must have been like 21 there, so my makeup had already improved by that point. But one thing that I've just done that I did then and I do now is moisturise. I haven't used the exact moisturiser I used to use. I used to use an eczema cream on my face, which did the job, but this is so much better. I recommend using a rich moisturiser with vitamin C in it, but nothing that's like too jellified or too like serum based, because your makeup can roll off. But I've always used a really rich moisturiser for my face, so put that on both sides. Now let's start with the old school CC, and this side is going to represent her. So my first confession is that I literally never wore foundation. I never wore foundation until maybe a year into my blogging journey. I'd experiment with colours and crazy looks, but I never wore foundation. So I'd go in with, I'm going to use some products that I actually used to use, but I did use concealer. So that's what I'm going to go in with. The Maybelline Fit Me concealer was an absolute favourite. To be honest, my favourite brands back then, even now to be fair, were Maybelline and MAC. And I remember Lime Crime being the first ever Instagram brand that I found, fell in love with, and then they featured me and I got thousands of followers, and that started the ball rolling, along with Huda Beauty and the good old days. So I used to put this concealer under my eyes. I still do love this concealer actually, and then just a little bit in the middle, but of course I want to save space for the correct side. Well, not correct, but the current way I do my makeup. And then I used to always blend with a brush. It was actually a Real Techniques brush that I used to use, but this one is just a Kat Von D fluffy dense brush. Does the same kind of thing. So I have to give credit to many of the beauty gurus who have kind of pioneered this trend of doing the makeup then versus now. I'm not sure who started it, but I've definitely seen Chloe Morello, James Charles, Soph Does Nails. I've definitely taken inspiration from them. It kind of made me a bit emotional looking back at my old pictures and videos. I look like such a baby and hadn't come out of my shell properly with everything, and I've come so far, and I'm really proud of myself. I'm really grateful for all of you to have, if you've been here from day one or if you've just joined today. It's just something I'm so appreciative for, and I love every minute of what I do. I love every second. I'm trying to say, I love, what am I trying to say? Baby brain. I'm trying to say I love what I do and I enjoy every minute of it. She got there in the end. So step 2 for my base back in the day, I used to go straight in with the powder using the same brush. I remember it so vividly, and I used to love this powder, which is Hello Flawless by Benefit Cosmetics. I also used to love the Studio Fix powder by MAC and the Skin Finish powder by MAC. I still love all these products, but the fact that I just went straight in and put powder all over my face, like after just putting concealer on, and I just used to wash myself out so much at this point. And then with the same brush again, I'd go in with a bronzer. And the original Hoola was my ride or die, but looking at it now, it's such a cool toned bronzer for my face, and I used to just use one shade. Like, I didn't use different shades to contour and bronze with, which is something I've learned and finessed now. I am pleased to say that I contoured though, kind of. I mean, you know, I followed the hollows of my cheeks, but using the same brush, and I don't know, we'll see. Might not even look that bad. I definitely know that I didn't contour my nose. Like I said, I didn't do my jawline, so I'm going to do my base on this side and then we're going to do the base on that side before proceeding to the eyes, etc. But that's pretty much my base done in 2014 CC style. My eyes are looking quite red, aren't they? I'm using an eyelash serum, and the first week that you use it, you do get a little bit of redness. Let's crack on with how I do my base now. So for a start, I much prefer using beauty blenders or sponges. Don't get me wrong, I still use brushes sometimes. Oh, and I'm using the Dose of Colours foundation, Meet My Hue, in shade... oh, sorry, the shade's rubbed off, unfortunately. But this is one of my favourite foundations, along with Born This Way by Too Faced in the shade Light Beige. And then also I adore foundations such as the Anastasia Beverly Hills one, or Maybelline Matte & Poreless Fit Me foundation, L'Oreal True Match. There is a bunch of foundations that I love, from drugstore to high-end. So I'll always go in with a foundation that matches my neck, or whatever tan I've kind of got going on my body, because of course with exfoliating and keeping your skin on your face looking fresh, tan wears off quickly, and that's looking good to me. So then, oh, I love this concealer. I go in with my favourite concealer, which is the Born This Way Conceal, Contour, Highlight, Retouch, it says on the back there, in shade Almond. I use this where I need to conceal or highlight, need to brighten my under eyes. I do just use a little bit under my cheekbone as well. And I blend this out before adding contour. You can already see the flawlessness on this side in comparison to this side. And yes, there is more product, but the end result is just more dreamy, I promise you. Okay, and then I go in with a contour stick. This is the Nude Sticks Bondi Bay one. I also love the Clinique Chubby Stick in Curvy Contour 01. But I draw this straight on to like a number 3 on my face, including the jawline. I do want to say, don't hold me to this, guys. I get lazy sometimes. I don't always use the techniques I'm using in this video right now. But if I'm like wanting to get glam, if I'm going out somewhere, if I'm making an effort, these are the techniques and products that I will use 9 times out of 10. So then I just go in and blend that with that same blender. I'd love to know what you guys have done to change or improve your makeup routine in the past 5 or 6 years. What step perhaps didn't you do that you do now that's changed your life, or what products do you just laugh at that you used to love and now just simply hate and have discovered something so much better? Let me know in the comments, guys. I'll be replying to you all. Radiant Flawless, doesn't look cakey. Yeah, you can see that my skin pigment, and it's looking a bit patchy to be honest, which it always did. It never looked as flawless as well, using full coverage products basically. So now of course we have to bake. I mean, if we learnt one thing over the past few years, it's how to bake, surely. And the best product that I've discovered that pretty much every beauty guru online talks about is the Laura Mercier translucent powder. So I now bake under my eyes before any of the creases set in from the liquids that I've blended into my face. I just kind of take that down my laughter lines, really push that into my nose, anywhere that can get a bit oily as well, into my eyelids, and I do just go under my cheekbone too. I sometimes do what Kylie's makeup artist Ariel does as well, just drag a line of that translucent powder underneath my cheekbone to emphasise the contour. So I'll let that set for a minute or so and then grab a bronzer. So I've upgraded now to the Hoola Caramel by Benefit Cosmetics, which is just like more of a warm toned bronzer, and I use this to just bring warmth to my face, not to overly contour with, because I do use a mixture of different shades for that. As I said on my how to contour video, bronzing and contouring are 2 different things. I always sweep it under my jaw and down my neck now, and I just want to buff away the translucent powder and any harsh lines. I'm looking at both sides and I'm like, Why did I wash myself out so much in the old days? Like, we want warmth, we want to feel alive. Okay, so now if I want to carve out like my nose and cheek or anything contour a little bit further, I grab a contour palette. So this is one of my faves, the Urban Decay Naked Shapeshifter palette, or the Anastasia Beverly Hills contour palette. I also love the KVD Vegan Beauty powder contour palette. And I'd grab more of a grey tone, or even just a really dark shade, depending on what skin tone you are. And I'll just carve out the hollows of my cheekbones just a little bit more. I also go into my temples. I spend the most time on my base, I have to admit. And now I take a different brush to actually do a little bit of nose contour with. And for this part, I kind of add a little bit on the end of my nose, which shortens it, and just slightly down the sides. Not all the way down the sides, just focus on the middle all the way up to where your brow starts. Do a little bit of my nostril as well to like cinch it in. I always take that contour powder into my sockets as well. So back in the day I used to use blush, but more of a pinky toned blush. This is Peony by KVD Vegan Beauty. Bit of that on. And now I prefer to use a peachy toned blush that's got a little bit of a glow to it. So I'm going to use the Sweet Peach Glow by Too Faced. And you may be thinking, oh, it looks a little bit like extreme, the contour. But I do feel like blush connects the contour with the cheeks and it just starts to melt and merge together. Okay, highlight. I've actually just found my first ever highlight. This is my original, I don't even know if they do this anymore, MAC Opal Pigment. Very well used. And I still adore this shade, but I just remember using it like day in, day out for years. I think it was even one of the first things that I blogged about. I used to use this on my cheek as a highlight. I did use it on my brow bone too. That'd be me done. Looks a bit icy, doesn't it? But now, although I do have many favourite highlights, the Becca Champagne Pop is just a trusty OG. I just think it's so beautiful. It suits so many skin tones. Oh, this is a fresh one. We've gone up in the world, guys. I use a brush now, a little highlight brush, and I don't go crazy. I just focus on the highest part of my cheekbones. Oh, wow, I forgot how insane this is. And I use a little brush to give my brow bone a lift and highlight, and then use the same brush for my inner corners. We're about to move on to the brows, guys, and have to admit, I go through waves with my brows even now. I look at recent posts, I'm like, oh, why have I drawn them on to be so bold or so dark? My absolute favourite way to do it is to have them fluffy, but let me show you what I used to do. Wow. So for a start, I used to use a powder, always. I'm going to use the Benefit Browsing Pro palette. There's nothing wrong with powders or waxes at all. It's just you wait. So I have laminated my brows. I've got to make them look worse than usual. So I used to like arch them right down like this. Kind of like block brows. Then I used to use a really dark powder, which didn't look right even when my hair was black, I have to admit. Looking back now anyway. I definitely think the way I do my brows now is one of the best improvements. Yeah, I think that's pretty much how I do them. Let me show you how I do them now. Firstly, I highly recommend laminating your brows and tinting them, and it makes them look instantly fluffy without any products. And the next thing that's really improved my brow game recently even, and that's actually going lighter than you think you are. If you like really dark brows or have really dark hair, try going a little bit lighter than you usually do, and I guarantee you they'll look fluffier and more natural. So the product I'm using is Precisely My Brow by Benefit in shade 3.5. I used to use the shade 5, which was like black. I kind of do brush strokes through my brows to make it look like I have more hairs. And anything with a really, really fine, precise tip is perfect for this. Then instead of doing the big arch that I used to do, I prefer to lift my brows. So go a little bit above where the natural hair is, and also lift the tail of my brow as well. So we've got a slight arch, and I always feather my brows towards the bridge of my nose to just make them look fluffier and fuller. Don't get me wrong, the fluffy brow life isn't for everyone, and I'm sure trends will change and keep on changing, but I mean, what a difference that makes. Oh, something else that I've been doing every day recently is just giving my brows a comb through with 24-hour brow setter by Benefit, or any kind of brow gel. It does make them look, again, fluffier, holds them in place, adds a bit of texture. Okay, we're good on the brow front. Let's move on to eyeliner. So looking back, I did experiment with different eyeshadow palettes. This was my favourite one, Venus by Lime Crime. I just absolutely adored this one. My go-to makeup look was literally a wing with mascara. So let me show you how I used to use this palette. I'd go in with like the shade Shell and put this all over my lid. I'd then go in with Rebirth and a bit of Venus. And then for eyeliner, so I've always used a liquid eyeliner. It's basically a spongy tip with loads of product on it. And I used to kind of do a thick line and then a little flick. This was 100% my go-to. Don't get me wrong, we had a lot of variations in the flick thickness and length. And that would be my eyeliner done. Would then go in with a mascara. I'm gonna use the Huda Beauty Legit Lashes mascara. I do love this. I rarely wore false lashes as well. Lots of mascara on my top and bottom lashes. I've got the James Charles palette here just for like colour variation's sake to show you the kind of thing that I'm drawn to. As long as it's got a black and neutrals and then a little pop of colour. I'm going to start off by going in with this shade to give me some depth in my eye socket. I'm using a larger fluffy brush rather than the flat ones that I used to use. Just taking the bone colour from the palette to just coat onto my lid to make sure everything's blended and beautiful. So you guys already know that the KVD vegan tattoo liner is literally one of my favourites, or any kind of brush tip eyeliner. And whilst yes, my eyeliner techniques change from week to week depending on what look I'm going for, this is definitely the most flattering shape that I have kind of discovered recently. So I do a really thin line across my whole lid to start off with. I don't take it too far out because then what I want to do is go from the outer corner of my lash line and paint the flick upwards towards the tail of my brow, because I want the flick to look feline and not make me look like I've got rounder eyes. I like the almond shape a little bit more nowadays. I do also take the eyeliner underneath my waterline, my upper waterline. I just take the eyeliner a little bit further, again just to lengthen and create the look of a more feline almond shaped eye. I take a black eyeshadow with a really flat brush, like a little brush. I just almost stamp that eyeshadow on the above part of the sharp line. I'll take it slightly underneath my flick too. Now I'm going to use some mascara. I'm going to use the same one. Obsessed with that. Now I'm going to go in with the Huda Beauty Legit Lashes mascara. I do apply mascara a little bit to my bottom lashes, but I try and almost like sweep them out rather than directly down. And although I love that with just mascara, to be honest, it looks really nice, I do prefer to add light little corner lashes. So as for the lashes, I can't show you the packaging for these, but giving you a little sneak peek of something very exciting and special. I always trim my lashes. I don't know about you. And on a lash like this, I'd use like 3 of the wisps. All I'll say is follow my brand, Hot Ombre Cosmetics, and you'll be the first to know about anything potentially that we might be dropping sometime soon. Thank you, by the way, for all the support on my brand Hot Ombre Cosmetics. I'm going to show you what it would look like with a softer lash actually. Okay, again, another lash for you to get excited about. Okay, these are so much better. They don't overpower any of the techniques that I've kind of shown you that I've improved on. I always just kind of stamp over the seam of the eyelash as well to get rid of any of the shiny glue. Okay, we're nearly done, guys, so on to the lips. And if this doesn't speak for itself that it was one of my favourite lipsticks, then I don't know what does. This is Please Me by MAC. And I used to wear this on its own with no lip liner. Don't get me wrong, in 2014 I did start dabbling in the lip contour kind of techniques and the ombre, but can't deny that I was a one colour all over girl when I first joined Instagram. And I definitely used to wear like more pinks and plums back in the day. Whereas now, my favourite lip liner is Spice by MAC. And I most certainly slightly overdraw my lips. I don't always wear a lip liner, but I always use more than one lip product. And I still do my lip contour slightly. I think we know that myself, along with many other people, just gravitate towards nudes these days, and the best nude in the whole entire world is Hot Ombre Burnt Brulee. It's created by me, so I am biased, but seriously, it's our best seller. I've been wearing it nearly every day since we brought it out a year ago. It's a 2-step liquid lip kit. Step 1 is burnt, The shade Burnt is just the most perfect nude for all skin tones. It's a buttery brownie nude, and I often apply this without the need of any lip liner. And then step 2 is the other side. I'm giving you a sneak peek of our new packaging, which I'll probably get in trouble for, but YOLO. So then step 2 is the shade Brûlée. And this adds the ombre plumpness to the centre of the lips for the ultimate like buttery, peachy, pinky tones. I'm also going to apply a little bit of gloss on top of this nude. This is Fenty Baby Brute Gloss. Nudes are just the best. Don't get me wrong, I do love this pink still, but this looks so much better. Okay, shall we reveal the final results? Okay guys, are you ready for the grand reveal? So this is 2020 CC. Looking snatched, sexy, feline, sultry, glowing. Wah, wah, wah. Wow, 2014 did me dirty. This is just crazy. I am still proud of this, and obviously when I started my blog, this is the kind of looks I was creating, and I was gaining a following. I was still giving out lots of tips and people were appreciating it. I'm just so glad that we've grown together, and sometimes going back to basics really does make you appreciate how far you've come, and improvement is all part of the journey. Discovering new products, new techniques, makeup changes. Makeup and fashion is ultimately based around trends and how much time you've got, and maybe how creative and steady-handed you are. But practice makes perfect, guys, and I'll probably look back at this in 5 years' time and be like, why did I do my makeup like that? I mean, who knows? What I do know is I'm really grateful for having the opportunity to grow and share the journey with you guys too. So I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. I have enjoyed this so much, and I'd love to have a conversation with you in the comments about perhaps what you've improved on, or if you've been following me since this. Let me know if you have like a favourite part of my routine or a method that you particularly enjoyed the most and have learnt from perhaps. I'd be super intrigued to know. This has truly put me in the mood to film more makeup videos, so let me know as well if you have any suggestions on what to film. And I guess I'll see you guys in the week on Instagram, my daily stories, and of course my vlog. Episode 18 of my pregnancy journey is going to be my baby shower, a big 35-week pregnancy update, and a few other fun little things. Thank you again for watching, guys, and I'll see you on the next one. Love you lots. Bye. No, I won't take that no more.